be making the Emory bubble romper from the Emory bundle. And we're going to start with our 2 top fronts, 4 top backs, 2 ruffles, and then 2 second ruffles, 1 front, 1 back bottom, 2 ties, 1 elastic casing, and 2 leg bands, and then 2 snap plackets. First, we're going to start with our ties. We're going to fold with our right sides together. We're going to clip the short end, and then we're going to clip the long end and leave one of the short ends open. Once those are clipped, go ahead and sew. And now we're going to turn them right sides out. Now we're taking our front bodices and our back bodices. We're going to take the front main and lay it with the back main with right sides together, and then clip the shoulder pieces. And we're going to repeat that step for our liner. So take your front liner and lay your back liners, line them up, and then we're going to clip our shoulders. Once you have those clipped, you can go ahead and sew. Now take your main top, and we're going to lay it flat, and we're going to line up our ties with the flat piece of the back. And here I'm just clipping them together, and then I'm going to lay the liner on top and line up all of my pieces. And now we're just clipping all the way around the neckline. And we're going to clip partially down the back bodice. And we're going to leave a small space for the elastic and the elastic encasing. Now that you have it clipped, go ahead and sew all the way around. Just be sure to leave a small gap at the bottom for your elastic encasing. Here I'm taking the elastic encasing, putting my elastic inside, and then I'm clipping both ends. For the elastic encasing, you'll want to make sure that the right sides are facing out. So when you're folding over on your elastic, the wrong sides should be together. Now that it's all clipped, go ahead and sew your elastic encasing down all 3 of the raw edges. Here I'm taking the top bodice and I'm opening that small gap that we left open, and I'm going to put the serged or sewn end and clip it in the small gap that we left. And then I'm going to fold that over the top and wrap it underneath between the 2 layers. And then we're going to put the serged end in the gap on that side as well. Once you have that clipped, you can go ahead and sew both sides. And now we're folding our bodice right sides out. Now I'm laying the top bodice flat again, and I'm going to pull the liner underneath, and then we're going to attach the sides of both liners. Go ahead and clip. And then we're going to repeat that step for our mains. Clip the sides. Repeat that step on the other side as well. Now go ahead and sew where you've clipped. And now we're folding the bodice right sides out, and our sides should be attached now. Now we're going to take our ruffles and clip along the flat ends. Once you have them clipped, that's the side that you will gather with your preferred gathering method. And then once they're gathered, we're going to lay the raw ends together with our right sides together, and we're going to clip and do that on all 4 ruffles. Now that they're clipped, we're going to sew that end together. And now we have our flutter sleeves. And here I'm just lining up the seams of the flutter sleeves with the seam of the armpit. And we're attaching it from the outside. So here I have the small flutter sleeve with the right sides touching the right sides of the bodice. And then I have the large ruffle sleeve with the right sides touching the wrong side of the flutter sleeve. I'm just clipping all the way around the arm side, and here I'm double checking to make sure that when my ruffle sleeve is attached that the right sides are going to be showing. Now I'm going to repeat the same step with the other side. I'm just lining up my seams, and then I'm going to line those seams up with the armpit seam and making sure that the right sides are touching the bodice on the right side. Once you have that clipped, go ahead and sew all the way around both of the ruffle sleeves. Now we're going to take our front bottoms and our back bottoms and then line up the sides. Clip down both sides, and once you have those clipped, go ahead and sew. Now that that's sewn, our next step is to gather our leg holes, and we're also going to gather at the waist. Now that that's gathered, we're going to attach our leg bands. We're going to fold the leg bands with the wrong sides together, and then we're going to line the right sides with the right sides of the leg holes. Once you have those clipped on both sides, go ahead and sew. And now we're going to add our snap placket. So we're going to put the right sides together, and we're just going to sew the short end on both sides. Once you have those sewn, we're going to attach the snap placket. And we're going to do that by connecting the raw edges of the bottoms with the raw edges of the snap placket. Once you have that clipped, go ahead and sew across, and you can attach that for the front and the back. Now I've turned my bottoms wrong sides in, and I'm going to attach the bodice with the right sides out. So the right side should be touching on the inside. And then we're going to clip all the way around. Make sure you line up your seams on the sides. Now that you have it clipped, you can go ahead and sew all the way around. And our top bodice and our bottoms are connected. Our next step is going to be to add our snaps. And here I'm just going to add 3 snaps to each placket. In this version, I chose to do a lettuce hem around the flutter sleeves, which is completely optional. Thank you so much for watching this video. We would love to see your creations on the Retro Sparkle Designs Facebook page.